Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF, mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify their fitness journey so they can lose weight, regain their confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Let's go. Hello there, fam. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. I am Nathalia Melo, your host, and today I am going to be addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant is the idea that our fitness goals, nutrition goals, and all our physical activities need to wait until next year for us to keep on working on ourselves. You know, there is winter, and then there is all the festivities that come in November and December. And it's very, very easy to just convince yourself to stop doing whatever it is that you're doing and pick it back up fresh again next year. But the reality is, from my experience as a coach and somebody who has been in the fitness space for 25 years, the reality is that stopping, it's really not going to make things get any better. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways to stay on track and also motivated during the holiday season. Because the truth is that nobody wants really to get up super early to get a workout in whenever it's dark, cold, and all that jazz. And if you live somewhere that it snows, it can be a hassle. But it is a hassle that will pay off in the long run. So I'm going to be sharing 5 ways that I really encourage our members to stay on track with their fitness and that I personally use to stay on track with my fitness during the holiday season and during the winter times. First one is to exercise first thing in the morning. Hands down, this is the best thing, the biggest favor that you can do to yourself, to your future self, and to your fitness goals. Because truth is that by midday, you probably are already fried and your brain's already in overdrive thinking about all the things that you have to do. And there's probably going to be some activity that you have to go to, be that school activity or work activity or get together or a Friendsgiving. There's always going to be something after work. So if you get it done first thing in the morning, it is out of sight, out of mind, done, checked. It doesn't have to be the best workout on the planet. It doesn't have to be the most complete and an hour and a half, 30 minutes you do. And the other thing that I find is that, especially when you have so much going on, making that healthy choice or that choice to prioritize yourself first thing in the morning will also help you make more aligned food choices throughout the day. That's one thing that I see with my own self and watching a lot of our members as well. So the first way to stay on track and motivated with your fitness goals during the holiday season and during the winter is to exercise first thing in the morning. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I promise you it is going to make life a lot easier. Number 2, consistency over perfection. It is very easy to obsess over, oh, I'm not going to have the full hour to work out, so what's the point of even showing up? But the truth is, showing up to do a 20-minute workout or a 30-minute workout, it's always going to be substantially better than not showing up to do anything at all. The person walking is still doing laps on the person who is sitting on the couch. Doesn't matter how slow you're walking, you're still doing laps than the person on the couch. And that applies not only for the exercising part of things, but also with the nutrition side of things whenever we're talking about consistency and not obsessing so much on the perfection, especially during the holiday season. There are going to be a lot more foods available in events that might not be as aligned with your goals as you'd like to. Let's say that you have 2 events that is going to be a lot of drinking and eating. If you're being consistent for the other 5 days of the week and for the half day that those events are, if you're being consistent on those days, the impact that those 2 events are going to have on your progress is going to be not very significant because you have been staying on track and you have been consistent in honoring your goals and showing up and doing the damn thing for the other 5.5 days. So it is a time to let go of the idea of perfection and that the workouts are going to be amazing. Because if you're traveling, like for example, we are going to be traveling, we're going to be skiing, and access to the gym might not be ideal. It might not be a gym that I have access to every single day. It might be a hotel gym. So are my workouts going to be as amazing and as I'm going to be hitting a PR every single day and doing? No, it's not. But I'm going to keep on showing up consistently, even if the workouts are not what my idea of perfection is. Even if not all my meals are perfect all the time, which they probably are not going to be. But it's staying consistent on the other times that I do have control that is going to set you apart and put you in a position to start 2024 in a much better place than if you just kind of throw your hands up in the air and just say, screw it. So that's number 2. So just a quick recap. Number 1, exercise first thing in the morning. Big fan of that. Number 2, consistency over perfection. Not obsessed so much on being perfect all the time because chances are that you're not going to be able to. Number 3, plan ahead. And again, I know that some of the events you might not be able to have a lot of notice, but a lot of times, a lot of holiday parties, and oftentimes, more times than not, they are scheduled. It's not something that happens, oh, by the way, you have a holiday party today. So if you can plan ahead, if you can plan your meals for that day so that you can have a little bit more cushioning for the additional calories that you're going to have at the specific event. Or if you can plan to make sure that you're getting all your workouts in and that you have everything that you need to do before going to that event so it doesn't become a snowball. Let's say that the event is in the evening and you know that you're going to have to work the next day and you're going to have to bring your meals. So how about we prepare the meals for the next day whenever you are going to be back at work and leave it all ready before you even go to the event that night so that the next morning you just have to grab and go because chances are you're probably going to be a little bit more tired. So planning ahead in a way to make your life easier. I like to plan even the workout clothes that I'm going to wear the next day. So it's one less thing that I'm going to have to think about. Plan my workouts. Okay, what am I going to train tomorrow? Okay, what is that going to look like? If you have a coach, and if your routine is going to change a little bit or you're going to travel, speak with your coach so you can have a plan to accommodate to the changes of your life during a specific period. For example, if you're going to travel for the holiday season, that's something that we do all the time for the members of the Powerhouse Academy. We encourage them to tell us if they're going to travel so we can create a workout routine and a strategy that is going to help them stay on track with their goals, stay consistent without taking them away from the things that are important to them at that specific time. So planning is going to be a big piece of your success of staying on track with your fitness goals and your motivation, because a lot of people become unmotivated because they feel like they're failing. So if you're planning and if you give yourself that sense of, okay, I'm doing what I can with the time that I have and staying consistent and following through with the things that you're promising yourself that you're going to do, chances are that you're not going to throw your hand up in the air and completely give up. So just something to keep in mind. Number 4, say no and ask for help. And this is a big thing for women, especially moms. We think that we have to do everything all the time and that we are the only ones who do everything perfect. I actually had a conversation with one of the members of the Powerhouse Academy about this. She was like, oh my God, my husband doesn't help me with anything. And I'm like, what do you tell him when he does offer and things are not done how you do them? Oh, I lose my mind. And I'm like, why the hell would he keep on doing things if every time that he does it his way, you tell him that he's an idiot and that he doesn't know how to do things properly? So you are going to have to let go a little bit of your expectations and understand that things will not be done exactly how you would do them yourselves. But saying yes to everything is going to leave you burned out and it's going to take away from your ability to enjoy the moment and take care of yourself. And one thing that is important to understand is that every yes that you say to something or someone is a no that you're having to say to something else. And a lot of times that something else is going to end up being your self-care or something that you wanted to do for yourself. So really understanding that there is nothing wrong with asking for help. Sometimes maybe even lowering your expectations a little bit. And it really goes back a little bit to the idea of perfection. Oh, everything needs to be perfect. Does it though? And are you the only person on the planet that can do things perfect? Like from a personal experience, it's funny. A lot of the things that I remember when my kids were young and I would always kind of like lose my mind because my husband wasn't doing things perfect the way that I did it. And then one day he literally looked at me and then he was like, Nathalia, these are my kids too. And I'm not going to do anything that is going to harm them. I'm going to do things my way, but I'll never harm them. And that really spoke to me. And what I found it even more interesting is that a lot of the things that Roger ended up doing were done not the way that I would do them, but they actually turned out to be a much better option than the way I thought it was the only way to do things. So there is nothing wrong with buying store-bought dish to an event that you have to attend if you do not have the time to make that casserole from scratch. There is no shame on that. There is no shame in, not showing up to every single activity that there is to men if that is going to take a toll on you taking care of your well-being. You do not have to be everything to everyone at all times, which is something that tends to happen a lot during the holiday season because that is going to come at a cost. And the cost is normally your mental and physical health. And is that really worth it? Is that really what this moment is about? To run yourself to the ground. So to give that appearance of perfection when you are falling apart on the inside. So every yes that you say is a no that you're saying to something else. And you have to ask yourself if that no that you're saying to something else is really worth giving up on. And if the answer is you or something that makes you happy and healthy, then we might need to reevaluate that. So far we have the 5 keys to staying on track and motivated during the holiday season and during the winter. 1, exercise first thing in the morning. 2, consistency over perfection. 3, plan ahead. Number 4, say no and ask for help. 5, set realistic goals for this short season. And the reason I say this is because your routine is going to be a bit disrupted. You might not have a lot of control over the way that certain foods are cooked. There are going to be a lot more meals that are going to be a bit outside of your control. And you can plan a lot, which is great, but it is going to be very hard for you to stay on track as much as you normally would if you was just a regular season of life. So readjusting your expectations and setting realistic goals and expectations for this season is one of the biggest contributing factors for how you are going to start the following year as well. Because what I see a lot of times is that all or nothing mindset of like, oh, if I cannot train 7 days a week for 3 hours each day and eat nothing but tilapia and broccoli and lettuce and ice cubes, so what's the point? And they do nothing at all. And then whenever the new year starts, they are so far from where they want to be that it just becomes that much of a longer journey. Do you really need to start the new year 20 pounds from where you want to be if you can start 10 pounds from where you want to be? Why the hell are you going to throw your hands up in the air and say, screw it, if it doesn't need to happen? And the other thing with not setting realistic goals and expectations for this short season is starting the following year feeling like a failure. And what this looks like is like, okay, so the holiday season is starting and I'm also starting a fitness program, which listen, I do think that this time is the best time to start a fitness program and working on your goals, because the holiday season is going to happen every year. So learning how to navigate that and come out on the other side without extremes, it's a huge win. And I have a lot of stories to tell you about that, but let me finish on this point first. So let's say that somebody comes with some cookie cutter programs like, oh, I'm going to do a 4-week challenge that is going to be like an all or nothing cookie cutter program, but it tells me that I'm going to lose 20 pounds during the holiday season in like 4 weeks. Chances are that, I don't want to say that you're going to fail, but it is going to be very challenging to enjoy the holiday season and hold on to a very extreme fitness and nutrition strategy with everything going on. And what's probably going to happen is you're going to give up halfway through. And I'm saying this because I've seen this time and time again. And then you're going to start 2024 feeling like a failure because you tried to go hard or go home with extremes right in the middle of a season that you know that is going to be a bit challenged to be 100% compliant at all times. And I just want to make sure that you understand that I'm not saying that that is not a time to start working on your health and fitness. I think any time is, but the holiday season especially, I find that it is a very good time because if you're getting the correct guidance, you'll be a very good start for you to start to learn how to navigate life, how to be around food without extreme mindset, start to understand that you can have a little bit of this. You cannot just have, like, the problem is when you have the whole fucking dish. And we have several members that started with us either right before summer, which I find that right before the summer vacation and right before the holiday, it's a very similar season. But like we have Pam that started with us right before Thanksgiving. And by the end of like now, at the time of this recording, it's being about 11 months and she's down 116 pounds. Just between when she joined and the beginning of 2023, she was already down 20 pounds. Obviously, for her, it was a bit different because she started at 300 pounds. So I'm not saying that that is going to be the case for everybody. And her rate of loss in the first few weeks was super fast. And then it slowed down a little bit as she started to attend more events. But she was working towards it in a way that now, 1 year later, we enter another holiday season. she feels equipped because last year she was able to learn the stepping stones to be here now. We've had another member that right before going on a vacation signed up, and she was like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a mess. I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything because I'm going to be traveling for like 8 days. She actually lost weight while on her vacation just with some of the guidance that we gave her. And now she feels comfortable and confident traveling to places because if she was able to do that right when she started, surely she feels more equipped and trusts the process more to do it this time again. But again, whenever she joined, I told her the fat loss rate might not be the same, might be a bit slower. So understanding what success looks like for you in this season where you are probably not going to be able to be 100%, and learning how to navigate these seasons of life that are going to keep on happening. The holiday seasons are not going to go anywhere unless you fucking die. Like kids being off school is not going to go anywhere until your kids stop going to school when you are an empty nester. Summer vacation are going to be summer vacation until the end of times. And if you have a job that has summer vacation or you have kids who are on summer vacation. So do you understand what I'm saying? Waiting is not going to solve the problem. Starting when you're in the weeds, it's kind of like waiting to sail a boat just when the winds are perfect. What happens whenever you are in the middle of the sea and the winds get all batshit crazy? How are you going to navigate that? We know that the winds are going to get batshit crazy at some point, but it is important to set the expectations and to set realistic goals. And what that realistic goal is going to be for you, it depends. And that's kind of why it is important to speak with an expert and a professional. Because, for example, for Pam, at the time, it was realistic for her to lose that 20-ish pounds because of what her starting point looked like. For somebody else, it might not be. Maintaining or losing a few pounds might be the realistic goal. I don't know what that looks like. I would have to speak with you. But understanding that from the get-go is a big, crucial part of being successful in the long run and staying motivated. Although I'm not a big fan of relying on motivation, but I do understand how people can feel defeated whenever they set these big goals and they don't crush it right out of the gate. Well, chances are that you're probably not going to do it in the middle of the holiday season. And that's why it's important to set those goals in a realistic fashion. All right. So let's do a quick recap here on 5 ways to stay on track and motivated during the holiday season and in the winter. Number 1, exercise first thing in the morning. Number 2, focus on consistency over perfection. Number 3, plan ahead. Number 4, say no or ask for help. Remember, every yes that you say is a no that you're saying to something else. And number 5 is set realistic goals and expectations for this short season. I cannot tell you what that is going to look like. It's for you to decide. It is something that we work with the members of the Powerhouse Academy to bring things into perspective and understand that it is a process. And, oh, I'm going to wait. Don't wait. I promise you, the more you wait, the bigger the problem becomes, period. Because then you're not going to know how to navigate life when the next holiday season comes, when life is not perfect. So if you want to discuss what that goal looks like for you, there is a link in the show notes on to schedule a call with me so we can discuss what those goals would look like, to learn a little bit about what your goals are and discuss what the best strategy would be for you. Just hit that button, schedule a call, and we can chat then. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening to the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Make sure that you leave a review, share this episode if you found value in it, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment or voice message at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on Instagram and let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. As for today, this is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.